Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Why Wasn't It Better? I'm your host, Patrick Darms.
And I'm your co-host, Anton Paras.
Today, we're celebrating not just the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, but the 30th anniversary of one of the biggest movies of all time. That's right, we're talking about the movie that blew up the White House and the box office in the summer of 1996. Independence Day wasn't just a hit, it was an event. Directed by Roland Emmerich and starring Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, it became one of the highest grossing films of all time and helped define what the modern summer blockbuster would look like. Bigger explosions, bigger speeches, bigger destruction. This is the movie that turned Will Smith from sitcom star into global movie icon. It's the movie that made an alien invasion feel like a 4th of July fireworks show. It's the movie that gave us the presidential speech, you know the one, and it also taught us a life lesson that if you ever want to fly the space shuttle, don't date a stripper. But the real question is Independence Day actually great, or is it just a loud, patriotic spectacle riding the wave of mid-90s excess? Well, here to help us answer that question is a most welcome return guest, Ivan Calixto.
Thank you for having me again, guys. I'm surprised I keep getting invited back.
Oh,
Surprised.
Ivan,
Oh, you are too modest, sir.
we got some fun in front of us today, Ivan. Are you pretty excited?
I am excited. I actually just rewatched this on FX a couple days ago, actually. Pat and I were talking back and forth on text with it, and I was like, "Are you watching this live? Because I am too."
I wasn't watching it on FX, but I was watching it in the exact moment that you texted me that. So I was like, yeah, I am. How did he know?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, with this being a legacy Fox property, it's now Disney, of course. Perhaps we get a reinvestment to have a Independence Day land in one of the Disney parks.
No, you're getting a Disney Plus show, and you'll like it.
I am surprised they didn't make anything out of this with a theme park.
I think that'd be so cool, like an experience.
Yeah,
like
definitely would be.
show.
This should be a stunt spectacular.
Yeah.
But this is currently on Netflix, actually, not Disney Plus. So they must have some licensing thing.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I don't think Disney thinks too much about this movie.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with that sale and like the however long those contracts had before everything went through.
Right. Yeah, eventually it'll end up on Disney Plus, as will the sequel, which I know we're all excited for that.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to make a guess here. What is the combined number of times the three of us have seen this film in our lives? Like 300?
It's been a lot. Okay, personally, it's got to be in like the high 70s, low 80s at least.
I've watched it 52 times.
I believe that. It's
I
somewhere
watch it at
around
least
there
once
for
a
me
year.
too. I do watch this once a year. I do. Like
Yeah.
pretty much, even if it's not me, someone in my household will have it on.
Yeah, and I did watch this more when I was younger because of cable television.
Right. This
Wow,
is one of those
fancy.
films where it probably sold a lot of VHS copies. Like I'm sure it did, but you almost didn't even need it because it was just on TV so much.
Yeah. I feel like that's where I've watched it mostly, even now with like the streaming age. But I make a habit of watching it at least once a year around Independence Day. Never like on Independence Day or anything, but there's certain movies that I'd like to rewatch.
You don't want to jinx it. Not on Independence Day itself. That would be too much.
I don't want no alien invasion.
That would be too
coming in.
much. Right. Well, before we really get into the meat of this, Ivan, is there anything you want to plug? What are you working on? Anything exciting?
I think I could say it, but I don't think I could say anything else. But I'm wrapping up some work on Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. I still don't know when it's coming out. I'm assuming before the end of the year, but I'm really excited about it. Just on the basics of me working on something. That's not a Sky Rizzy commercial or another medication ad. And then there's a couple other things that are like little commercial bits, but I think that one will be more appropriate to share on the next recording.
I'll remember that and ask you about it then.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the latest Spider-Man trailer?
Wow, we have a bit of a celebrity in the house, but I guess we always have.
No. It's just a smidge part in that, but yeah.
A tiny bit of involvement in
Slowly.
Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Just a wee bit, a few
Okay.
TV spots,
All right.
maybe.
Yeah, if you look close enough, he inserted a screen of like a cutout of his head in one of the extras.
Dude, if it was up to me, I'd have the podcast logo in the background somewhere. Just hide
Oh,
it.
thank you. Oh,
That would have been my. I would have 100%.
Spidey shoots out some webs, and there we go. It's the podcast logo comes out.
The podcast title just gets dropped randomly.
Disney's like, what is this?
It's like, well, let me tell you about this. Why?
Well, let me tell you about this. All right. Well, before we intro this, as always, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the podcast and you haven't already done so, please follow, please subscribe, please leave comments wherever you're listening or watching, whatever platform you get your pods on. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and best of all, Letterboxd. If you follow us there, you can see the full list of films that we're going to cover throughout the entire duration of the time we're doing this podcast. It's over 1,100 films, so we've hardly made a dent. And if you really like what we are doing and you want to throw a few bucks our way, we do have a Patreon. You can get access to episodes a full week early, ad-free, plus some bonus content. Links to everything are in the description. All right, then. Independence Day. By the way, no one ever called this ID4, right? I've never referred to it as that.
Never. No.
I did back in the day.
No, you didn't.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say no one did. No. And we won't tolerate that on our podcast, Anton. We won't allow it.
No.
I wonder whose idea that was, though. Like directly, like who?
I'm glad
who
you
was
asked
like,
because I have a note about that in the production
Oh,
history.
good.
Look at you, Ivan. You know what you're doing here. So this film was released on July 3rd, not the 4th, 1996, by 20th Century Fox and Centropolis Entertainment. It was directed by Roland Emmerich. The screenplay was written by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich. It stars Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Judd Hirsch, Mary McDonnell, Margaret Collin, Vivica A. Fox, Robert Loggia, Randy Quaid, James Rebhorn, and Harvey Fierstein. The budget was $75 million. That is $155 million adjusted for inflation. And the box office was $817 million. That is $1.69 billion adjusted for inflation. It has a 69% Rotten Tomatoes score. Ivan, I gave you a list of films to pick from. Why'd you pick Independence Day?
I think this is so. Touched on this a little bit already, but like this is one of those movies that I like to rewatch every year, and I think unlike so I love World of Worlds, and I find a lot of parallels with this between the story of World of Worlds and this movie. I feel like in an alternate timeline, this is War of the Worlds. I'm a big fan of sci-fi epics, big Star Wars guy, so like anything with aliens always catches my attention. But this is one of those films that I think has been kind of on the iconic side, which is, to me, like always stands out as one of the reasons why whenever there is a Roland Emmerich film, no matter how really bad it looks, I still want to at least take a peek at it before I cast judgment on it. But this is probably one of my favorite sci-fi movies.
Anton, goes without saying, this is one of the biggest films of all time.
That's fair.
It was obviously the biggest movie of 1996. Here's some box office trivia for both of you. At the time of release, it became the third highest grossing film of all time, behind which two?
Ooh.
I'll give
one
you a
of them,
hint. They both came out a few years before this.
Forrest Gump.
No.
Jurassic Park?
Yes. That was number one.
Steel Magnolias.
No.
Titanic?
No, that came out the
that
year
came
after
out-
this.
that came
That
out
eclipsed
after.
this easily, but
Why did I think it was 95, Titanic?
I don't know, man.
My years are all scrambled in my head.
it's crazy that Titanic outgrossed this by $1 billion.
It's
It grossed
Impressive.
$1.8 billion.
that's the gold medalist.
It's nuts. It's a Disney movie, so it should be obvious.
Beauty and the Beast. Lion King.
Lion King. Lion King was
Lion
the
King.
second highest grossing film of all time when it came out. That's how big it was.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
domestically, this was number 2 behind Jurassic Park. So this was not just a big summer movie. I mean, this I remember when I saw this when it came out. It felt like the biggest movie ever at the time. It really did. Because I was too young. I had missed Jurassic Park. I had seen The Lion King, but that was like another Disney movie to me. But this, to me, I remember seeing the Super Bowl trailer, and everyone was like, "What the hell is this?"
How old were you when this movie came out?
I was 8.
You were 8. Okay, do you remember like the type of hype that was around this movie? Was there any hype around it? Like, were
Oh yeah. because of that Super Bowl trailer. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but like, you know, there was no pre-existing IP. This wasn't a sequel. Fox had to basically generate hype for this kind of out of thin air, and they did so. Like, they spent a lot of money on that trailer, and all it was the White House blowing up.
Okay, I can see how that would build it up. I'm always fascinated because I'm a '90s baby, but I was around like 3 or 4 when this came out, so obviously like no recollection of that, but it just, there's stuff that I do latch onto that I remember, like because people were talking about it around me, or like it would come out in a newspaper. I don't know if you guys remember the release date. They would have the big giant movie posters in the back of the newspaper. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the hype that they generated, they had the poster everywhere. Like if you went to the mall, I don't just mean like the normal size posters. I'm talking about the big quad posters.
Massive, yeah.
So and it was always the same poster. It was the giant spaceship over New York City, and even we were like, "Holy shit, what is this?"
Yeah,
I remember the tagline, "Don't make plans for August."
Yeah,
I was like, what? Like, oh my gosh.
I was going to say, the being younger at the time as well, watching it had to be on VHS for me, and then eventually reruns on TV. But I think that speaks to the staying power. This stayed in syndication for so long. Like, I can't think of a time. Yeah, I can't even think of a time when I didn't see it. At some point on TV Guide.
I wrote down it's still like one of the 5 biggest movies of the 90s, not just because of the box office, but I mean culturally. It's this, Titanic, Jurassic Park, Phantom Menace, and The Lion King.
Yep. 96, a lot of
bangers.
A lot of classic 90s films that just, man, makes me proud to have grown up in the 90s. And then a lot of 90s films that make me remember why I probably have very selective memory of 96.
Well, if anybody listening is in the New York area, I remember the Queens Center Mall, this is like around 2001 or so, still had a giant poster of Independence Day. It was sun faded at this point, but the fact that it stayed up there for so long is like something key in my memory for me to remember that place. But it's such a staple of the 90s that for me it's just like it's still synchronized with the memory of that whole era.
It's fun to kind of come back to this era as well. We're revisiting. There's a lot of films that just even in the past like 5 years have gotten sequels from that era. Of course, we covered Twisters, which of course Twister came out in 96. Independence Day did have resurgence years after, but we won't talk about that. When did that come out?
10 years ago?
Like,
who cares?
It doesn't really deserve a lot of attention.
What an atrocity.
Yeah, and then of course Mission Impossible came out in 96. So
there's
it's so many great things coming out of 96 that still to this day have so much impact.
Yeah, this really was an event. This is one of those movies where every single person I knew at the time saw this. All of my friends, all of my, both my parents, everyone in my family, my cousins, my grandparents saw this movie. Everyone was talking about it. Like all my friends' parents, everybody saw this. That's how it made $800 million.
Which was Courage Under Fire?
Good movie, Courage Under Fire. Love that movie.
Eraser?
Oh, we're covering Eraser soon, buddy. You know that. Speaking of
fun. Ooh, I wince a little when I see Escape from LA. Ooh.
That's tough. I know that it has its fan base, but that's tough. So this was noteworthy for another reason, too. This more or less was the beginning of the disaster movie resurgence of the 90s. After this, you had, obviously, Armageddon, Deep Impact. You had Dante's Peak. You had Volcano. You had Daylight. The disaster movie craze in the 1970s, it gets brought back primarily because of this movie in the 1990s. And it would continue into the 2000s. Roland Emmerich was one of the, chief architects of that. He did this, he did Godzilla, he did The Day After Tomorrow. He was all about that stuff.
Yeah, but this one kind of leaned a bit more into aliens.
Yes.
Disaster from aliens.
Aliens. That might not even be the most significant thing about this movie, though. We haven't even mentioned his name, though, except in the cast, but this was the coronation of Will Smith.
Oh, goodness gracious. He was so charming in this.
He's awesome in this. But I mean, before this, I don't think I had seen Bad Boys at this point. I only knew him from Fresh Prince. He was just the guy that everybody liked on TV. Bad Boys was a surprise hit the previous summer, but that was a rated R movie. That wasn't for kids. But this is the film, and overnight he became one of the biggest movie stars in the world thanks to this movie. And, he basically ruled Hollywood for the next 10 years.
Men in Black was immediately after this for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, next summer.
He has a long, there's a very long list of films after this. And
it's funny when you think about it. Will Smith had this for his disaster movie. Tommy Lee Jones had Volcano, right? Was that 97?
Yeah.
And then they came together for Men in Black.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen Volcano in a long time. I'm willing to bet that does not hold up.
It does not. I love it for how cheesy and terrible it is.
It is very cheesy, I'll tell you that.
Very cheesy. This movie's very cheesy, which we're going to talk about. Wait. So, without even doing the research, he is the most successful actor to transition from TV to film ever.
It's really hard to think of other examples that have done it so successfully.
Clooney? But Clooney never had a movie like this.
No.
Clooney was more prestige. Clooney got a lot of... He's obviously won an Academy Award and stuff like that, but Clooney didn't have a movie like this.
You could... Yeah. There's no serious other TV actors that I can think of that reached this level.
Modernly?
I don't think so, right?
Not even. I mean, you think of if you think of just a lot of
the criteria. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you could think of a lot of for example, there's a lot of Disney stars that transition from TV into film. No one gets this close.
He was. I mean, it was like him and Tom Cruise and maybe Tom Hanks were the biggest movie stars in the world after this, right? I mean, overnight he just between this and Men in Black, who was more popular than Will Smith at this time? Remember, he was doing the music stuff too, which is it's very easy to make fun of his music, but his songs were hitting number one. He was selling 10 million records, stuff like that. It really is nuts.
Will Smith was on a roll for that period, right? That's
yeah.
Where we were at.
Well, let's start to get into it, but first, what we have to talk about.
Yes, we do.
As is tradition. Well, it's the 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life, which is the prevailing theory that every film can be connected via the sexual conquests of Warren Beatty. This is no exception. Jeff Goldblum is our connector here, Anton.
Yep.
By way of Diane Keaton.
How peculiar. So you're telling me that maybe there was some fun afoot between Beatty and Keaton?
More than just fun. They dated for years. Goldblum and Keaton both starred in Morning Glory, and of course, Keaton and Beatty dated for years. Diane Keaton is she's been in so many films that it's kind of obvious she's the biggest connector to Beatty. Just think about all the stuff she's been in.
Been a lot. I mean, like my line from this movie, life finds a way.
Oh, you mean must go faster, must go faster?
Do you like my chain?
I don't. All right, let's get through the production history so we can really talk about the stuff we want to talk about. You want to read this?
Yeah. Roland Emmerich and his and his producing writing partner Dean Devlin conceived of the idea for this film when they were promoting Stargate in 1994. A reporter asked Emmerich why he made a film with content like Stargate if he did not believe in aliens. And Emmerich stated that he was still fascinated by the idea of an alien arrival, and further explained his response by asking the reporter to imagine what it would be like to wake up one morning and to discover 15-mile-wide spaceships were hovering over the world's largest cities. Emmerich then turned to Devlin and said, quote, "I think I have an idea for our next film." They wrote the script during a month-long vacation in Mexico, and just one day after they sent it out for consideration, 20th Century Fox chairman Peter Chernin greenlit the project. Pre-production began 3 days later in February 1995. The aliens were designed by production designer Patrick Tatopoulos. The U.S. military originally intended to provide personnel, vehicles, and costumes for the film. However, they backed out when the producers refused to remove the script's Area 51 references. The role of Captain Stephen Hiller was originally offered to Ethan Hawke, but he turned it down as he disliked the script. Emmerich and Devlin then offered the role to Will Smith after seeing his performance in 6 Degrees of Separation. This is nowhere near as good with Hawke in the role, as you stated in the notes, Pat, and I have to agree with that.
I love Ethan Hawke, but he's not making this movie what it is. Will Smith is a huge part of why this movie works. Yeah,
keep Ethan Hawke in all of his other films that he was great in the 90s. Principal photography began in July 1995 in New York City. They also filmed in nearby Cliffside Park, New Jersey, before moving to the former Kaiser Steel Mill in Fontana, California, to film the post-attack Los Angeles sequences. Additional shooting was was done in Wandover, Utah, and Nevada, which doubled for the El Toro and Area 51 exteriors. At the time, the production was nicknamed ID4 because Warner Brothers owned the rights to the title because of a film from 1983, which is also called Independence Day. The film to use the title was eventually, or the right to use the title was eventually won 2 weeks later. Principal photography ended in October after 72 days of filming, and there are 3,000 special effects shots in the film. The production used on-set and in-camera special effects more often than computer-generated effects in an effort to save money and get more authentic pyrotechnic results. Many of these shots were accomplished at Hughes Aircraft in Culver City, California, where the film's art department, motion control photography teams, pyrotechnics teams, and model shop were based. The crew built miniatures for several of the spaceships featured in the film, including a 30-foot destroyer model and a version of the mothership spanning 12 feet. The White House model was 10 by 5 feet. The detonation took a week to plan and required 40 explosive charges. Fox spent $1.3 million on the Super Bowl teaser trailer. That is it for our production notes.
So you can go watch
Day.
the trailer right now on YouTube. And I have to say, the actual shot is better than what's in the film. I don't know if either of you have watched the whole trailer, but it's an uninterrupted shot of the White House blowing up. You know how in the film it cuts to that helicopter exploding? That's
Right.
not in the trailer. So it's like the thing what you see in the finished film isn't as good.
Who was playing in that Super Bowl? I'm trying to remember.
That would have been the Cowboys versus the Steelers.
Got it. And of course, the Cowboys won.
The Cowboys won.
Yeah, because for them, that was truly their Independence Day.
I suppose it was. They are called America's team, are they not?
I'm sure they still say that about themselves. They're so self-righteous.
There's a lot of Cowboys fans where I live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Easy to claim the Cowboys as your team, I feel like. Just anywhere in the United States.
Yeah, although in the native Charlotteans, they did not get their own NFL team until 1995. So there was no team.
I think it's the most recent rookie that signed with the New York Giants. They asked him like point blank in the interview, like, are you excited to play for New York and like be part of like the bright New York lights? And he just responds, aren't we in Jersey? I was like, oh.
He sounds like a loser.
It's like, well, he already knows geography better than more than 75% of the team, so that's true. Good.
You know, on that note, because by the time this episode comes out, the World Cup final will only be a couple weeks away, and I do feel possibly bad for all those foreign fans who think that they're going to go to New York to see the final, and it's like, no, it's actually out in this swamp in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yeah, or anyone that wants to go see the San Francisco matches. Right. They're nowhere. It's nowhere.
That's a solid 45 minutes from San Francisco, right?
Yeah, but you can say hi to me if you want. Anyone that's going to the San Francisco matches, I'll be close by.
San Francisco matches.
All right. The patrons, Sam.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll let the patrons park at your house for a nominal fee?
Yeah, it won't be too bad. Don't worry.
Yeah. Only $700. All right. Anton, Ivan, Independence Day. Let's talk about why wasn't it better. I want to start with the hype.
Ooh, this is the kind of hype and marketing that like you just don't see anymore, really.
No, it really did deliver. I was trying to paint a picture for you both of like what I remember from it. And the build up for this movie was significant. And I think if you watch this movie now, for the most part, I think it holds up very well. But if you weren't around for it, like this really was groundbreaking in 1996. Like this, we can't emphasize this as enough. As cheesy as this movie is, it deserves its place in history. It deserves to be remembered as a sci-fi action spectacle classic. This really did deliver.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of our listeners who remember that era also know marketing was very different. Every single touch point, whether it was a teaser trailer, the full trailer, when the trailer releases, that's as much of the film that you get, unless you're really tuning into like Entertainment Tonight, tuning into whatever's on TV, because this is, a pre-internet forum America. This is a like Reddit, pre-Twitter. So a lot of the hype gets built, the more insane that these trailers build that hype. And these trailers really built that hype.
Yeah, the internet was, of course, around, but it wouldn't have been a factor in this. All the hype was generated around the commercials and the print ads.
Yeah, no one really at the time thinks, like, how do we plug this for the internet, right? It's more, we have to get people where they are, which is, like you said, print, movie posters, billboards.
I think it's the culture around, or the strategy around hyping for a movie has definitely changed too. I feel like back then you were almost kind of marketing an event, right? It's like this like tentpole film, come watch it. I mean, just the tagline alone for this movie, right? Like I feel like it's like centering it on being this big thing. Whereas today I feel like most of the blockbusters are like riding the coattails of franchises or stuff that's already been established. So it's almost like you feel like you don't really have to put that much of an effort. Whereas back then it was like you're leading up to a movie. And again, like the one in the late 90s that I remember the hype around, because I was old enough to kind of remember all of it, was stuff like Phantom Menace. All those tie-ins. Star Wars might be a little bit of an odd one just because it's
Phantom Menace is the most extreme example of that for sure. But I mean, you're right to call it out. They built that hype up for years in advance.
Yeah. I mean, like I was young, but I was still old enough to remember the talk of like people going in for the trailer to Phantom Menace and then leaving. Showing
and Meet Joe Black. Meet Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black.
Yep.
It's so crazy to me now, and that, but like also like having worked at News Corp a couple years ago, like I remember there's still so many people that were working at 21st Century during this time. And one of the things that I think was kind of like a big staple thing, like one of the big things that I used to work on is like advertisement for the Super Bowl. And in terms of like trailers, I feel like Independence Day is probably the big one that changed everything in terms of like, look how much of a marketing machine it could be if we attach the right thing to this event. Because ever since then, I think it's been like, oh, like who's going to be the big main attraction at the Super Bowl this year, commercial wise, right? Like it was like the beginning of like that sort of thing where you have some avid watchers just for that. But it's interesting. It's also kind of a little bit of a shame. I feel like we don't get too much of that today. Original content that's like promoted like this or given this sort of support. It's kind of unfathomable today.
Well, I feel like today there's just so many different ways that people can gain some form of marketing that I think it exhausts just marketing teams in general for studios because they only have so much budget and they're like, well, we can do some really big installations and marketing, just marketing strategy that we can put for this bigger film. But let's make sure not to do anything too much for hoppers. We'll do a day at Disney, but then other than that,
we can't do more because there's another one in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have to save all this for Spider-Man.
Yeah, right. Well, Toy Story 5 is coming out 3 months later, so
look at Mando and Grogu. Like I'm the odd one because like to me it's like I'm a Star Wars nut, so like I absorb all of this. But to the average person, I'd be tired of looking at like a bunch of advertisement flooding my social feed and all that. But it's because you see so much of it, and back then it wasn't the case.
And I think it's just so much more effective because we can see that this was a very conscious decision. Because not every film in the 90s also had the same treatment, to be fair. Like, The Truths About Cats and Dogs did not get this treatment.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's
true, it didn't.
Did Meet Joe Black get this kind of treatment?
No. How dare you
put it in a
besmirch
Happy
Meet
Meal,
Joe
it would have
Black?
been.
Well,
Anthony Hopkins has his own action figure.
It should have been a Happy Meal too, guys.
But the craziest thing about this is it delivered. Everybody liked this movie when it came out. We all said the same thing. They're like, that was awesome. It didn't get the best reviews. Who cared? It made $800 million then is insane. It's an insane amount of money now, but for 30 years ago.
Yeah, off of a concept that not an adaptation of
no pre-existing book like Jurassic Park.
Book. Now you can say it drew from a lot. Right, but
sure, yeah.
But like again, this is pretty original stuff. To be fair, like everything put together.
Yeah, it's original. It is an original IP. You're right. Yeah. And one thing I think we have to talk about. Look, I mean, Roland Emmerich. I'm not really a fan of his work, but getting this level of scale and style and the spectacle of this movie out of honestly $75 million budget That is incredibly impressive. This was not the most expensive movie of 1996. Eraser cost more money. Disney spent $100 million to make The Hunchback of Notre Dame. With the 3,000 effect shots in this film, and there's a handful of shots here and there that I think are showing their age. For the most part, it really does hold up.
It
I
really
appreciated their miniature use in this movie.
It's great miniature work.
Yeah. I especially for the destruction shots for the cities and all that. It's just so I'm a big fan of just those little intricate details. Which is one of the things I love about the Star Wars prequels too. Like I know a lot of people bash them, but like I like the miniature work they do because sometimes
I love the miniature work in the Star Wars prequels for sure.
All the technical stuff of Star Wars is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's. I think it's pretty clear for Roland Emmerich and like a lot of his films, he likes to approach things at a grand scale, which also means to get a grand scale on screen, it's good to have a miniature scale.
It does, but it felt like everybody was on their A game here.
They were
not like right, because I feel like if you were to take something that doesn't like if we take a Roland Emmerich film like 2012, right, and everybody felt like if they're just as passionate about it, I feel like we could have gotten a slightly better film than what we got.
Have either of you watched the making of documentaries of this?
No, I watched the one on YouTube that I saw.
Okay, so Ivan, this will make total sense to you because you're an expert in post production. I mean, they had so much time to work on this. They planned everything out. There was no last minute, like, oh crap, the studio doesn't like what we're doing, we have to change it. They planned everything out in pre-production, and they had over a year to execute on everything, and that's why it still looks this good.
Yeah, very operational.
Yeah.
Which I think we probably also shouldn't underplay the fact that Roland Emmerich wrote this.
Yeah.
It's one of he didn't direct, write, and produce, but direct and wrote. And I think, like, again, that has I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, he's a very easy director to make fun of now because of all the stuff that he's done since. But
yeah,
this is such an incredible achievement from a filmmaker like him. And this is he wrote, like you said, Anton, this was his project. He brought this to the screen from start to finish. It's a triumph, technically. Dialogue, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I mean, some of its parts, yeah,
there's some stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, I think that's part of the charm. It's like you look at any movie in the 90s, and you're not gonna remember how cheesy it was in your memory, but there's always a little bit of cheese involved. Or in some cases, a lot.
A mountain of cheese. I mean, if you said the following statement to somebody, they might look at you weird, but it would be true. Roland Emmerich is one of the most successful filmmakers of the past 30 years.
It's a true statement.
His films may be cheesy, they may be cliched, but for a long time, they made boatloads of money.
I mean, I still remember, like, being at Comic-Con in, like, 2007, and there was a huge push for 10,000 BC. And I remember even then, I thought to myself, I don't think this is going to do well. But he's been to the mountaintop, so he probably was able to convince people, let's distribute marketing materials and buttons at Comic-Con for this.
That's where it started to go a little wrong for him, right? Because I don't think that didn't do well, right?
Did not do well, no. But a few years before that, it's one of Ivan's favorite films, The Patriot.
Listen,
I like
that
Patriot.
movie. Yeah, like that was one of my first legitimate VHS movies I've had that my dad did not buy, because most of the time when he would buy a movie, it'd be like a bootleg version and it'd be something else on it and not that. But I don't know. I like The Patriot. Patriot is one of my
Ivan, we were talking about this yesterday. Elite soundtrack from John Williams. Elite score.
Yes, that American colonial patriotic music rising and all that, like it brings out the Star Spangled American in me.
Well, yeah, I was gonna save it for later, but we can mention now. David Arnold's score to this film, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty dang good.
Very patriotic. It gets
America.
Gets my eyes misty.
Well, I had someone when I was in film school. I had a professor that used to say this Independence Day was one of the last hurrah American movies pre 9/11 era, and I was like, I feel like I could kind of see where he's going with it, but like to his credit, I feel like things kind of took a little bit of a different tone after. And this movie to me highlights like the pinnacle like American blockbuster before all that shifted over.
It's a great point. I don't even know if this gets made after 9/11. What they, at least what they show in this film.
Yeah,
Not until the 2010s, at least, because there was a
Right.
lot of sensitivity around like how much destruction you want to showcase in the American
Like, you know,
city.
War of the Worlds is, I would say, much more intense than this, but you don't see major landmarks getting destroyed. Everything's ground level POV, just from the POV of Tom Cruise and his family.
Where was that one film, Olympus Has Fallen? Have either of you guys seen that?
Was that the Gerald Butler one, or was that
Yeah,
the Channing Tatum one?
It's not the one that was directed by Roland Emmerich, right?
It was not, yeah.
Okay. He did
Okay,
the
that
other
was the
one.
Gerald Butler one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that one had a lot of just destruction to the White House, but the White House getting compromised, but nothing to this level.
No, this was like, I mean, the Empire State Building gets blown up. You get some skyscraper in LA. Sorry, I don't know the LA landmarks like that, but you see the Statue of Liberty, you know, violated.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
That one donut place in LA that everybody raves about also gets destroyed in this movie.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, this is what Emmerich is good at, right? I mean, he's great at the build up. He's great at tension. He knows how to make a blockbuster. He really does.
He really knows how to do those shots of how are multiple people perceiving a moment, because it just pans over a variety of different areas and people. And I just notice it now from a lot of his films. It's usually around the same time. I don't think I don't think other directors can do that so effectively, and I just take it for granted, but really respect it here.
He's really good at making trailer material. Like the whole first half hour of this film is just straight trailer material.
It's you're not as charming as you think you are.
Yes, I am.
It's like, of course that's in the trailer.
I remember from the trailer, Harry Connick Jr. going, "Hold me."
Yeah. Oh God. Harry Connick Jr. didn't really act much.
No, because he stinks at acting. He's
but
god awful in this movie. I couldn't wait for him to die.
But he loves singing.
Yeah, he does a little singing in this. Do you want to talk about the cast then? That's the next reason.
All right, let's talk about this cast. This all-time 90s cast.
Such an up and down cast. Because the cast is probably my favorite thing about this movie for good and bad reasons. I feel like Roland Emmerich is good at casting. This is like a pretty spot on perfect cast for good and bad reasons. I wrote down Emmerich sure loves a ham.
He wants a hammy performance
from everyone.
Yeah, he dialed it to honey baked is what he did. But I think, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if part of the like multiple takes really required him to say, I need your motivation to be that much more magnified, because sometimes a lot of this delivery is just so cheesy.
It really is. You want to go top to bottom?
Let's do it.
Let's start with Will Smith. He's amazing.
Yeah.
I love him in this movie.
He looks really good, very handsome. Looks like a lead in a typical action 90s film, very muscular, and his attitude and he exudes really cool.
Super handsome, super charismatic. He's believable as a fighter pilot. He showed everybody why he became the biggest movie star in the world in this movie. He's one of the biggest reasons why this movie works.
Yeah, he's leading man material here.
Yeah,
he's funny.
And then there's Jeff Goldblum. He's handsome. He's really muscular. Everything I said about Will Smith, I'll also say about Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about the most unbelievable thing in the movie, which is Jeff Goldblum's character being single in Manhattan? Wouldn't happen. No man that handsome. He would have women beating down his doors.
Like, so you want to go to the Poconos?
No, it's the Catskills.
Right.
He'd go to the Hamptons, maybe.
Yeah, he'd go to the Hamptons for sure.
I could see him. Do you know it was originally offered to Matthew Broderick, which is how he ended up getting the lead in Godzilla 2 years later? This doesn't work with Broderick.
Character
was
offered to.
Yes.
I don't see it.
Don't say it.
No.
Okay, it's been a long time since I've seen Godzilla. Was Kramer in Godzilla?
I don't remember him in that, but he might have been.
I'm like not even kidding. I think he might have been, but it just might be my head.
I would buy Broderick as single in Manhattan in this character.
Yeah, but Goldblum.
No,
that's what I don't get about it. Like, he's walking around with the wedding ring. It's like, no, he's too handsome.
Yeah, he's very handsome. He acts like he's very endearing, dorky, but cool.
He rides a bike. He cares about the environment.
Yeah.
He makes a big deal about people not recycling in the
Well,
office.
there's a lot of aliens, I guess.
You know what? Maybe the character fit Broderick better, but because of the way the lines were delivered, it just works for Jeff Goldblum more in the long run.
Is it just more believable because he has scientist lineage?
Yeah, well, he looks like, if
Right.
you're gonna cast a scientist, right? You're like Jeff Goldblum or Matthew, but who looks more sciencey? I guess in a way, I would.
Anton, we talked about him all the way back, really at the beginning of the podcast years ago on The Lost World. And Ivan, we were talking about how he has such a weird career where he's obviously a pretty well-known actor who just happens to be in the two biggest movies of the 90s. It's like they're total outliers in his filmography. If you look at the rest of his stuff, it's like normal roles, and then Jurassic Park and Independence Day, normal roles. What was the biggest thing he had been in before Jurassic Park, Anton? The Fly?
The Fly, absolutely.
Which was not, it was popular, but not like that.
Not huge like that. No. I think if anything, that just shows the caliber of actor he is.
Yeah. What a career. He's perfect in this role. I love and the chemistry that him and Will Smith have is fantastic.
It's amazing when they're on the mothership.
Yeah. Apparently that was all ad-libbed, and you can tell it's great. It's so great good. Stuff.
Really just shouts out. Goldblum's been so popular for years. Even to now, I can't think of, I'm trying to think if there's a current show or movie that's featuring him at the moment, but I'll just say this. I know for a fact it's just he's really in everything, whether it's shows, TV, all over.
Still looks the same pretty much.
Yeah.
He is a little bit ageless, right?
Yeah.
It is a little odd.
Will Smith still looks mostly the same. Give him credit.
He looked his oldest in After Earth. I feel like.
Yeah.
We almost covered that accidentally.
I think Will Smith's about to look really, really good pretty soon.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
Well, because he's going to be in I Am Legend with Michael B. Jordan. So
that's really happening? That's not a prank?
It's happening. I Am Legend sequel with Michael B. Jordan. There was literally just a update this week.
So Will Smith survived the last one?
Well, they're going to pretend like that didn't happen.
Yeah, tune into our last episode of I Am Legend.
Kind of like if you've ever seen Independence Day Resurgence, Brent Spiner's character somehow survived this film, which he was very clearly shown as dead in this film. I thought it was pretty clear that he died, but nope.
I'll say one thing, just touching on the sequel real quick. I think, Pat, you and I were texting back and forth on the sequel weeks ago. I can't tell you what I remember about that movie. I feel like I mentally blocked it out of my mind. All I know is they kill some of the Will Smith's character is gone off screen.
Right.
Essentially.
Smartest thing Will Smith ever did, not participate in that.
Well, do you think there's a world where we could have gotten a decent sequel out of this? But I feel like the need and have is a separate thing, right? But
no, I think it's a very clear no.
Yeah.
This did not need a sequel.
Yeah.
Did not.
That, would you say, Anton, that is one of the 20 worst movies ever made, full stop?
It was during an era where you're just sick of Hollywood for doing this.
I remember enjoying 10 minutes in the beginning, and then afterwards it just became oh no.
Is Judd Hirsch in that movie?
I don't think so.
He's still alive, by the way.
Yeah.
I think. He's still alive.
I don't think he was in Resurgence. But there was this film, there was Resurgence that really disappointed me that they even bothered making it. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Ugh, with Keanu.
I was like, what?
Good. Not good. Well, speaking of Judd Hirsch, are we done with Will Smith? I mean, they give him a lot of cornball lines. I did cringe when he goes, "Oh, you did not just shoot that green shit at me." It's like, oh, come on.
But he's gonna say that line. He's gonna quip it, and I feel like it fits the scene. And
it's the delivery that sells it.
But who's he talking to?
Himself.
He's inner monologue. That's
Welcome
50%
to Earth.
Of this dude.
He punches the alien suit.
And I mean, look, I'm guilty of also making quips to myself, but it's when I'm, getting cheese out of the microwave that's hardened.
You give yourself one-liners out loud, and
that's right. Who's your daddy?
Okay. You think you know a guy? Hey, Hey, real quick, Bill Pullman as the president. I feel like anytime I think of a movie president, that's where my mind always goes to.
Well, I mean, I'll say this: I voted for him. Did you guys vote for him?
You guys like him?
I voted
for the other guy. Personally.
Right. Do you guys like Bill Pullman as the president?
Yeah, I do.
I think him
Very
and Harrison
cheesy.
Ford.
Okay. I think he's the biggest problem with the movie. He is dull.
Oh, I think he's
That's
so
why he works
cheesy.
as the president.
They tried to get Costner and Harrison Ford, right? I mean, it's a better movie with either one.
So, from your perspective, you just want a stronger personality as the president?
I just don't think he's a good actor.
I think that there was just enough like subdued cheesiness from him that I could let the other star. You could see the other stars shine much more. If I have
That's my problem with it. You have movie star, and the guy playing the president of the United States is a B-level actor who I like in Spaceballs, but this isn't that kind of role. He's trying to do the cool, disinterested guy. Like, when they're like, oh, we've organized attacks across like the Europe, Middle East, and Asia. And he's like, that's impressive. That's all he says. And then like when they're about to nuke Dallas or Houston or whatever, he's just like, Mayor, children, forgive us. It's like, you're about to drop a nuke on American soil, man. Show more gravity than that.
No, I just think he's so again, subdued, cheesy president for me really fits the bill because this is my thesis. This is a glorified big budget B movie.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I really, really enjoy when I get me big budget B movie president.
They got a B-level actor, that's for sure. I mean,
I'll argue that if you put an A-lister on there, if it would be Harrison Ford, it would be Kevin Costner. Yes, I think
Hugh
would
Hefner
make for a better movie. Hugh Hefner. I think we would have a better movie. Yes, but it needed better dialogue. I feel like to justify either of those two being in that role. Bill Pullman to me works because of the level of cheese. To Anton's point, I feel like I wasn't expecting a ton from that, but he has the look. Like I don't know what it is, and that's the thing. Like if I were to picture a generic movie president, that's where I go. Like if I'm to picture a main character movie president, I'm going to Kevin Costner, or I'm going to
Sorry, I just had this thought. Like if you take Bill Pullman's character, take it to schools nowadays, and say, "Do you recognize who this president was?" Like in our past history of presidents, they'd be like, "Yeah, he was like our 25th president or something." Right?
Didn't he fight in the Mexican-American War?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy. I wanted him to be the MCU president for a bit, just because like I was like, all right, I want some sort of like cheesy level,
like some callback to a like 90s movie.
That'd be really
I just he's so uncharismatic to me. They could have done better.
I think they worked with what they had, and I really do think Roland Emmerich had a vision.
The voters of that universe just
his vision was for a better actor because they tried to get Costner.
Yeah. Well, and we get this guy. All right, we'll make it work.
Do you even remember his name?
Dull
Jack
man.
something.
No. Thomas Whitmore.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip past Judd Hirsch before we get to the First Lady, who's equally dull, by the way. But Judd Hirsch, okay, how do I say this politely? Stereotypes aside, I really like his performance. It's completely heartfelt. I love his relationship that he has with his son, played by Jeff Goldblum. They really feel like a father-son duo. He grounds the movie in a way that this film needs. He's one of my favorite things about it, despite all of the histrionics that he goes through in the film.
Is he one of your favorite movie dads?
I think he is.
Yeah, because I feel like he fits the bill pretty well. And it's comedy relief done well, also.
Yeah,
and I just like say, yeah. I feel like there's so many ways to overdo it. In this role, he
definitely overdoes it, but I just feel like it's heartfelt enough. Like my wife and I quote it all the time. The scene on the plane. Hey, don't tell him to shut up. You'd all be dead now if it wasn't for my David.
Yeah,
I just like Judd Hirsch. He's a good actor. I like him.
He's a good actor, and I don't even know what to say about the stereotypes in this film. But
there's a lot more than I remembered.
There's a few.
Yeah, but I think that the relationships that he has with Goldblum, I think, is very sweet.
Yeah, when he's telling him like, I haven't spoken to God since your mother died. It's like, it's good acting. It's just it's a
really
good
is.
scene. He never once asks about the aliens prior to the Area 51 outburst. I think it's really funny that like they go to the White House. David reveals like what he knows about the signal, and there's the countdown, and they're like, all right, we're evacuating. And all Judd Hirsch has to say is like, this is very nice. We have our own phone. He never once asks like, David, what's going on? I guess we can presume that during the miraculous sub 6 hour car ride from Queens/Brooklyn to Washington, D.C., David probably informed him of what was going on. We can maybe make that assumption.
I'm just gonna infer this. I think he's just cool as a cucumber and like
unfazed.
He's just practical.
I could picture like a deleted scene where David's explaining to him like they're going to attack all the major cities. We need to get out of here, and he's like, "Wow, that sounds bad. We should probably. Good thing we're leaving." Just unfazed. Wait, is that the most unrealistic thing in the movie? The car drive? They're able to get there in less than 6 hours during a like nationwide evacuation?
It makes no sense.
No,
because actually, what is that drive like?
You can do it in 6 hours if there's no traffic.
I was gonna say, but you're gonna hit traffic.
All of the cities are being evacuated.
Yeah, so it's just like either there's gonna be
no, mind you, like they have to. I mean, you know your geography, but for any of the listeners, if they're not familiar, you have to, in between Washington, D.C. and New York is the city called Philadelphia. You have to get past that, too.
You got to get past that.
And Baltimore.
And Virginia. Virginia's to the left.
Virginia's on the other side of the river.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
Hey, just to get out of New York, it's like 2.5 hours. So...
It could be, yeah. Because I'm assuming, where is this? They're in somewhere in Brooklyn, I would guess, right? He's in a brownstone. I'm thinking it's somewhere in Brooklyn.
Yeah. I mean, look, the last drive I took, my buddy and I, what was it? We were to get to Philadelphia, it was 6.5 hours, and a quarter of that was just getting out of the city.
Ew,
that sounds rough.
Yeah, it's not doable.
We love Judd Hirsch. The First Lady, Mary McDonnell, dull, just as dull as the president. They're a great couple.
Much. Yeah,
but
no, who wasn't dull?
But it does give us one of the most endearing, funniest, racially motivated scenes in the film.
Oh, goodness.
I'm a dancer. Oh, ballet? No, exotic. Oh, sorry.
It's not a microaggression. I don't know exactly what it falls under.
It might be. In 1996, it wasn't.
Yeah, right. The term I use is a very now term.
So do we think Whitmore was a Democrat or a Republican?
I think he was a Democrat.
Really? So you think Vivica A. Fox's character voted for a Republican?
Maybe, actually.
Be careful how you answer that, Anton.
I don't think. I think the reverse.
Okay, all right. Well, you want to just move on? Talk about something else?
No, I want to talk about the demographic breakdowns of Vivica Fox's neighborhood.
They live in a fine neighborhood. Vivica A. Fox, love her.
Oh yeah, she's fun.
Yeah.
Was she? I'm trying to think of a couple more movies she was in. I know she was in Kill Bill, right?
I mean, she was in a lot of movies. Obviously, nothing this big, because what else is this big? I mean, not much. She's really good in Kill Bill.
Yeah, so she's in some of the more iconic 90s, most famous like 90s black films like Booty Call, Soul Food. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, no.
Like, these are just like all time. Like
she did a lot of TV work before this too. Yeah. She was on wasn't she on like Days of Our Lives and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was just worked a lot in the late 90s through early 2000s, and then from there very sparingly across different films.
She was in Two Can Play That Game.
But yes, she was in.
Seen that?
I did not see that one.
No.
But I did see Kill Bill. I do remember her role in Kill Bill.
I have some questions about the timeline of her character in this film. After the aliens arrive, Will Smith basically tells her, "Hey, why don't you and your son come stay with me on the military base?" Right? Sounds like pretty good. Okay. So then she decides, I'm going to go to work at the strip club first. Work my shift.
Right.
Remember, the aliens there's a spaceship overhead.
But he's on base.
He goes to the base, and remember, there's aliens that are on Earth. They've arrived on Earth, Anton, and her what she does is, I'm going to go work at the strip club.
Well, maybe she's living paycheck to paycheck.
Just that's a hard worker.
Yeah. Reba McEntire put it best where...
What I'm trying
I
to
guess
say
she's
is,
the
I
same
don't
one.
think Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin put a lot of thought into this part of the screenplay. Because a lot of the characters do things in this film that you're like,
Okay, so
that doesn't make sense.
there is a scene that I still I don't get how it worked. Will Smith commandeers the helicopter, right? And
Yes, he does.
the military cop or the soldier's like, hey, like, I can't let you take that. He literally has a gun pointed at him.
Right.
And like Will Smith's like, you're not going to shoot me, or just something to that effect.
Yep.
And then he just puts his gun down
Right.
and just lets him go.
Right. Why is that not believable?
I mean,
You
I guess
think
when maybe
he
it's
should have gotten shot.
well, I think maybe it's the charisma of Will Smith, but I don't know if I really could commandeer a helicopter in that same fashion.
He's a pilot.
Well, but then
I feel like
guess
the guy just survived an alien fight, so I'm not shooting him.
Right. That's fair.
Maybe he's
but
gonna
then,
be kind of
okay,
useful.
Then the next, well, remember, he's able to then pinpoint exactly where his girlfriend is.
Well, I at least bought that because she went to the base.
So he just knew, as long as I fly to this general area.
I mean, yes, it's ridiculous, but yeah. But it's a very touching scene when they reunite and then the first lady dies of internal bleeding.
Yeah, it's very touching.
They're like, yeah, we got your wife back, but she's going to die.
Oh,
Sorry, man. We did our best.
I guess her helicopter wasn't as fast as Air Force One. By the way, is that the coolest shot in the film when you see the fireball following Air Force One and they're flying over the cityscape?
it's pretty sweet.
It's like from the top, like a POV top level shot. It's pretty good.
Every destruction scene in this movie was
Awesome.
so good.
So good.
Have you ever seen like a ripoff of this movie?
I mean, kind of.
Like, I'm just trying to think of, like, this had a big budget. Like, if anyone wants to make fun of the explosions or the effects, it's like, I dare you to try to find another film that also covered the same subject matter, and it's pretty hard to capture that same scale and just how consistently good it looks in this film. Because I'm sure if there's like a B-movie version of Independence Day, instead of blowing up the miniature with like all the explosives they had, they just took 2 cherry bombs and threw it at the little miniature.
There is one movie that comes to mind that might be what you're thinking of, but it's a sci-fi made-for-TV movie.
Oh, if it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, that's different.
Yeah, that's different.
Was it called Independence Disaster, I think, or something like that?
Is it like Asylum Entertainment, like that company?
I'm pretty sure it was I want to say it was like 2013, 2012-ish or so. But they've done a parody of this movie a couple times, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. Moving through the rest of the cast, I love Robert Loggia in this. He's one of my favorite things about the movie.
Loggia.
There's a really good bit of trivia. To prepare for the role, they advised him to watch Airport, but they accidentally said Airplane instead, and he got very upset when he watched Airplane.
That's so funny. That's so
He got
funny.
very upset, and he's like, why am I in a comedy? I didn't know this was a comedy. And they're like, oh, we're sorry. We meant Airport. He gets some great lines. That's another one that I quote to my wife all the time, which is, get on the wire and tell the rest of the world how to bring these sons of bitches down.
They don't have lines like that in films anymore. It's just,
I miss it. As cheesy as it is, I miss it. I really do.
like, that's a 90s action film one-liner. Like, that's ridiculous, but it's so good.
Staple of the era.
I actually think he's one of the MVPs of the movie. If he's not good in this role, I don't think the movie works nearly as well. Like, I really think he's awesome in this role. It's kind of a thankless role because he's just playing like the general.
Right, but like his urgency and like him hamming it up too sells it.
Well, one of the reasons I actually think it's pretty good writing from Emmerich. I want to give him and Devlin credit for this because he's the military guy. But if you notice in the very first scene in the Oval Office where they're talking about the spaceships arriving, he's the one that is exercising the most caution. When the Secretary of Defense is like, let's blow it out of the sky with some IBCMs, he's like, no, we're going to turn one falling object into many. It's normally, in a lot of these movies, it's the military guy that's pushing for that. And it's kind of the opposite here. And I actually think they do his character like a really good service in terms of how they wrote him.
No, I think that's a really good call out. So an example where they really were being very thoughtful.
I mean, the writing in this movie, it really is up and down because some of it's really clever and some of it is truly idiotic. Let's get to the idiotic.
Okay, dissecting an alien without wondering if they double tap to make sure it's dead.
Yeah, or wearing really any kind of like biosuits or anything. They're just like in masks.
Like they're just going for it. Like
right. Yeah. That's just hold that thought, Anton. We'll get to that scene. I want to talk about one of the idiotic characters. James Rebhorn as the Secretary of Defense, truly one of the great character actors of all time.
Yeah.
I like the actor a lot. So this isn't his fault. This is the fault of the writing. This guy, he's the former head of the CIA. He's currently Secretary of Defense. He knows that aliens exist. He knows that we have recovered bodies and a spaceship and that we have been studying their technology for decades. And does not say anything, says nothing. Even after the aliens arrive, even after they destroy half the world's cities, says nothing. Just sits on it.
People ask him, like, he didn't say anything. He's like, I didn't think it was the same aliens.
He was sworn to secrecy.
He sure was.
You know, I'd want him as my Secretary of Defense.
How do you think our current Secretary of Defense would handle this? Don't answer that.
Yeah, let's not go down that path.
Oh, God.
Half our nuke stockpile gone.
Oh, man. It was classified. I couldn't say anything. I signed a piece of paper. This is not just a plot hole to me, though. This is insane human behavior. It's a breakdown of reality. There's no version of reality where this happens. If I were the president, I would have had him thrown out of the plane.
I would have had him leak it, but in a signal chat.
WhatsApp.
Now we're going down that path. All right.
Oh, we are.
I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Look, it's a terrible plot hole. I really do like James Rebhorn. He was on fire in the 90s. He excelled at this kind of role. He's great.
There's a quick line. Isn't there, like, where someone's pressing him about it? It's like,
Robert Loggia. Yeah. He's like, why didn't you tell us about this? He's like, it was classified.
It was classified.
That's his excuse.
But there was a little more to it too, wasn't it? Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I know exactly what he says. He's like, you should have warned us about this. He's like, you should have told us about this before it cost the lives of hundreds of American pilots. And he's like, we had no idea that our fighters would be that ineffective. Like, that's his only excuse for it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Then they never revisit it. It's never brought up again.
They were like, that's enough. That's enough exposition for it. We don't need anything else. It's just, you know.
And then when they arrive at Area 51, the president's like, why didn't you tell me about this place? He's like, 2 words, Mr. President, plausible deniability. Idiotic.
That's cheesy.
Cheesy.
It's 90s.
Margaret Collin, good. Don't really see her in anything else. Like, I'm trying to think what else I've seen her in. Good. I thought she was a very attractive woman when I was 8 years old. I still feel that way.
Trying to think, or just looking to see what else she was in. Oh, Gossip Girl. Cool.
Okay. She looks like she should have been in more stuff, right? Like she's good looking and she's good. Like her performance is good. Harvey Fierstein.
Oh, Harvey Fierstein. Oh, Harvey.
David. His death scene is one of my all-time favorites in the history of cinema. He sees the fireball coming. Oh, crap.
What's her... I forget the actress's name. The stripper.
The white stripper?
The white stripper that's like...
Oh, the lunatic?
So pretty.
Oh,
yeah,
I remember watching the movie 8 years old. You know, you're like, wow, she's not going to make it long.
Yeah, no,
she's not going to last long in this movie. Where she's like, this is so cool. I made this sign. I'm going to bring it later. It's like,
oh, God.
My favorite bit during that scene, you remember on the news broadcast, and they're like, we're asking Los Angelinos, please do not discharge your firearms at the spaceships.
That's so funny. Oh, God.
That would happen in the United States if this happened in real life. Someone would fire at the spaceships and trigger an interstellar war.
Or just cause havoc and damage because the bullets can't reach that far.
No, they could not.
Oh, that's true. They'd be way too far up for this.
It's kind of a miracle that no one died in Area 51 when Adam Baldwin shoots the coke can and the force field's still up and the bullet ricochets all over. Imagine if it just killed the president. Yeah. They're all just standing there, and he's just like,
if it's still the same film, somewhat like one of the actors is gonna be like, awkward.
Don't you wish Harvey Fierstein survived and then he became Secretary of Defense?
I think we just need to blow it up.
It's whatever David says. I was genuinely heartbroken when his character died. I was hoping he lasted a little.
I think so. I really do love his 90s run of films.
He had a good one. This and Mrs. Doubtfire. Is he in the Birdcage?
In the Birdcage.
Yeah, great in the Birdcage.
I mean, he's great in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Basically the same character.
Yeah.
Just, he moved from San Francisco to New York.
I think he was also in
He was in a bunch of stuff back then.
He was in Death to Smoochie. I don't know if you remember that film.
Yes. Was he not one of the voices in Mulan?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was one of the crew, one of the main crew.
One of the Asian crew?
Yeah, one of the Asian crew.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie Murphy was playing a dragon.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's kind of like the Nemoidians having Chinese accents in Phantom Menace.
Is that what that was?
Is that what that was? This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
By the way, everyone, that's a Nemoidian accent.
It's a Nemoidian accent. I don't even think the voice actor was Asian, right? Wasn't it an English guy?
Yeah, it was an English guy. Yeah.
That's making it even more funny.
That's why we have to emphasize it's a Nemoidian accent.
At what point during production of that, someone was like, George, do you think maybe we should get an Asian guy to do the voice? No, we don't need to.
No, this isn't 2026.
They're not Chinese. They're Nemoidian. Why would you suggest that?
Yeah, they're from Cato Nemoidia.
Right. Yeah. What are you implying, Rick? Rick McCallum might have asked about that. I don't know. Maybe.
He's the guy
Harvey
that fired
Fierstein. Yeah. Stereotypes aside, I mean, he's one of the most memorable things about the film.
Oh, he's super funny, very just memorable, charismatic.
They had to change the line. The original line was "fuck my lawyer." They had to ADR it because they didn't want to get an R rating.
Yeah.
If you listen to it again, it's pretty awkward. Screw my lawyer.
Oh, love that. Bad ADR.
Speaking of bad acting, Harry Connick Jr., like I said, I couldn't wait for him to die. It's embarrassing. They originally gave the role to Matthew Perry, and he backed out at the last minute.
Matthew Perry did not have a single good film in the 90s, right?
I like the whole 9 yards. Was that the 90s or was that later?
I was going to say, I think that was the early 2000s.
That was 2001, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I do like that movie, but you're right. His movie career never took off. I mean, unfortunately, what we know now is he was fighting a lot of demons.
Yeah,
it really is tragic.
He had a tough go of it.
Yeah. I would have loved him in this movie. It's a small role, but I mean, Harry Connick Jr. it's awful. Like, I can't. We were watching this the other night, and my wife, who originally not from this country, was asking me, what is the significance of the Jesse Jackson impersonation? And I did not have an answer.
I don't think it's clear.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too.
I was curious, was that ad-libbed by Harry Connick Jr. or was that actually in the script? It couldn't have been, right?
I mean, you gotta...
Do you write a fighter pilot character? It's like, and we're going to give him... He does a very good Reverend Jesse Jackson impersonation. That's Roland Emmerich speaking, by the way, because he's German. It'd be funny. Yeah. Everybody loves Jesse Jackson.
Everyone's like, what? Okay. Actor that if you told me in passing, like, oh, he's in it, I would have believed you, but I know he's not in it. Nathan Fillion. I think he could have really fit in this movie.
Is he an extra in this, or is he not in it at all?
He's not in it at all, but I'd totally believe he'd be in it.
Yeah, he could have been the Adam Baldwin role or something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a smaller role.
Yeah. I love Adam Baldwin in this. Small role, but I like him.
Yeah. One of the weaker Baldwins.
He's not related to those Baldwins.
He can hang out with them, though.
He could. He gets mistaken for it, but he's not. He's not part of the Baldwin clan that we're thinking of.
He's an honorary member.
Right. Sometimes they let him come to, like, not Christmas, but like the lesser holidays.
Yeah. Like sometimes he'll...
Yeah, like Veterans Day.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Emmerich would use him again. Remember, he's in The Patriot. He plays the loyalist. He's got, again, another just good character actor. Brent Spiner.
He was I don't know. Did you like his character?
Yes, he's throwing 125 miles an hour.
I just felt like
it's insane.
It was
I don't like it.
It was just so weird.
It's insane.
So weird.
You know why he did it, right? Because he didn't get to show emotion as Data, and he was like, I want to go over the top with this.
But he showed, what do you mean? He showed so much emotion in Generations.
Oh, God. Yeah, he did. He really did.
He gives me Bob Lazar vibes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he, I don't know. It was just, of all the characters, too, to pop up in Resurgence.
We all agree, like, he died in this movie.
He died. Like,
yeah.
He's so clearly dead. You know what's funny about rewatching this movie? When he's showing them like the vault and everything, you can tell Bill Pullman has no idea how to respond to this level of acting. He's just staring at him blankly. It's so funny.
Do you think that he just I'm trying to even think what scientist stereotype is he going for? It's just the zany, kooky.
Yeah, I think that's an example of where this movie is dated. Is like the popular view of a nerdy scientist type, I think, has changed a lot since the 90s. You would never see this kind of performance in a film now.
I was gonna say, I don't think that I think of like this kind of scientist type is popular anymore. Scientists are much more refined today.
Well, I think they always were, but you just had this worldview that stereotyped them. Like, you know, in well, I mean, it's not the best example, but like Denise Richards as the nuclear physicist in The World Is Not Enough. Like, one of the criticisms you hear about that, like, oh, she's too hot to be a nuclear physicist. Like, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, all scientists are hot.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, yes. Look at Elizabeth Shue in The Saint.
Yeah.
There you go.
There.
Brent Spiner is basically playing a cartoon character, and yet doesn't even come close to delivering the most over-the-top performance in the film.
No.
We saved the best for last, right? I mean, the MVP of the film, Russell Case, played by the one and only Randy Quaid. If George Lucas had made this film, he would have said, you know, Randy Quaid is the key to all this.
So,
in this little pre-show screening,
Randy Quaid's character reminded me of a parody character in a parody science fiction film.
Yeah, it's completely at odds with everything else in this film. It's like watching a different movie.
Like, he fits better, or I mean, like, the performance really did remind me of a character from Mars Attacks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's awful. No, he's absolutely awful.
This.
He almost ruins the movie for me. I'm not going to pull my punches here. Like, it's some of the worst acting I've ever seen. It's insane.
They also just set up his character weirdly with all the exposition around him.
Yeah, I think I forgot most of that. Like, I feel like that's his whole story leading up to
that he was abducted.
End. Yeah, well, like, it's kind of like a little bit of a throwaway because there's not much to it. There's not really, you don't really spend all that much building up to that, and at the end, yeah, I was like that moment doesn't feel earned. Yeah, it just feels like, oh, okay, great.
Okay, did you guys ever play Metal Slug?
No.
It's an arcade game, really, really popular.
Is he in there?
It's the whole final battle is versus like an alien invasion, and there's the mothership, and there is like a character that flies his plane up into the mothership, just like in Independence Day. Pretty direct reference, but
right.
I couldn't tell if the sprites were Randy Quaid or not.
The introduction to his character, where he's in the biplane, and he's drunk. You remember, he's like waving to his son. He's like, "Hey, Miguel!" Ah! You could have replaced him with a Muppet character, and it would have been just as believable. Like an actual animatronic puppet could have played this character.
This is Jack Quaid's uncle,
Randy Quaid. I guess this is kind of what he's like in real life. We've learned, right? Like, this is him.
Yeah,
he's not acting.
Right. He's a big personality.
Was he actually abducted by aliens in real life? Did he claim that?
I don't remember if he actually claimed it, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Like, does he think this was a documentary?
That's how they got him.
I fought in the War of 1996.
I don't even know how to talk about his kids who look nothing like him. Like, was the father Lou Diamond Phillips?
Okay, yes. That's always been something that confused me, because I was like, I don't see the familial connections at all.
We spend a lot of time with those kids too.
We do, and it's almost like an afterthought in terms of like how they deal with it. My favorite part about the whole thing is like once he reveals what he's gonna do, Bill Pullman's reaction to is like like very passive, like, oh, okay, cool, this is what you're doing, this is what we're doing. Like very nonchalant.
Doesn't he say good luck? Good luck,
Yeah.
buddy.
It's like one of the best bits of the film for me because I was like, here's this guy about to kill himself, basically.
Pullman's so bad. Good luck, buddy.
Enjoyable.
Well, here's the real question. I think they made the wrong sequel. What they should have done is a prequel where he's kidnapped by aliens and sexually abused.
There's an NC-17 script out there describing this exact
He's like, I just really want to go back. It's so funny.
They could have swapped him and Jar Jar Binks, right? Put him in Phantom Menace.
He's just a huge weirdo. Yeah.
Which one bothers you more though, Jar Jar Binks or this guy?
Yeah, I think this.
Yeah.
This is that. Yeah. This is just jarring for the film.
Last reason why this wasn't better, and then we can start to wrap this up.
All right.
Turn your brain off an Emmerich movie. We talked about Goldblum being single. No chance. Is President Whitmore good at his job?
No. There was no anti-alien measures or like proactively in place.
No.
So that's already a really
doesn't
bad job.
order the cities to evacuate when the aliens show up. He's just like, no, everyone just stay put.
Yeah, it's like there should be protocol here.
Would there be though?
I mean, for disasters in general, right?
This is an alien
there's-
mothership hovering over your metro.
They do not have protocols for this. There's no way.
Well, there has to be like levels of disaster, and we know that's true. There's like
Yeah.
levels of
No, you're
disaster, and then
right.
and how you respond to those disasters. So it's like I'd put aliens, like
Well, I can
maybe-
tell you this. So I read this book called Lights Out, written by Ted Koppel. He was trying to examine what would happen if the power grid went down. And the government/military have no contingency plans for that.
That's not good.
Well, if you
Or is
really,
it- is
if
it-
you
is
really
it to the
think
state
about
level?
it, though, if that happened, there's too many people to save. It's logistically impossible.
So it's really only all the off the grid people that are gonna just do great in that environment.
I guess. Okay.
Well, good for you, Randy Quaid.
Moving through the plot. The military is not alarmed by the spaceships positioning themselves all over the cities.
A little questionable.
David is the only one who keys into that. He's the only one who finds the signal in the satellite system. Like no one else finds this.
Yeah, it's including the donut shop.
Right. It is funny too how so these aliens are capable of interstellar travel, but they need to rely on our satellites to coordinate their attack.
Did I miss it? How they know what's the major monument?
They've been researching this for years.
Because they speak English. Right.
Right. We know that because they kidnapped Randy Quaid. Come on, Anton. They learned everything
Wasn't
about
it
us
that
because of
fast,
Randy
though?
Quaid. Yep.
How they learn so much so quickly without our modern internet? I mean, just to upload files back then. That must have been like
They kidnap Chris Farley. We know he is your equivalent of your modern. He is your modern day hero. So we're holding him hostage.
They end up taking down the entire alien force with a computer virus. This has been talked about a lot. I mean, there's a deleted scene that actually addresses this. Did you guys read about this? Yeah.
no.
There's a deleted scene that explains when we were reverse engineering their technology from the crashed spaceship, we developed like a lot of modern computer software like from their technology.
Okay, so it's tied to it in some way.
It's not in the film though, so it's stupid.
Well, I always questioned that bit of info because I'm like, all right, well, then it would mean that the way that our technology functions is similar to theirs.
They're brought down by a 1996 computer virus. Brings down the entire alien.
It was
system.
It was literally the love bug email virus. You remember that one?
I think so. I don't know.
It just sends everyone in your email list just inappropriate links from you.
Oh, I think I got hit with that once.
Is that what you tell people when they see your internet history? I got hit with a virus.
You can tell Ivan's from New York here because of the sirens.
I've been trying to mute every time I hear
Oh, it's
stuff
okay.
going on.
Yeah. So at the end, wouldn't the ship crash down right on top of Area 51 after they blow it up? It's directly overhead.
Yeah.
I wanted a spin-off of the wreckage that happened after they blew the entire mothership up, because that would have been like an ecological disaster.
Yeah, it's 1/4 the size of the moon.
So like once it hits the atmosphere, it's already like burning. So you're getting all this shrapnel, and it's probably like spread out too. That's hitting multiple countries.
So this is why Volcano should have been the sequel to this movie. You see the after effects of it afterwards there. Although technically you can't do it because Los Angeles was already destroyed here.
Right. So who cares? I think if you can ignore the logic, it is a very watchable movie. It's really well paced. Every 10 minutes something pretty cool happens.
Yeah, it's I think it has this, it's perfect for a movie theater because you can really just enjoy it and immerse yourself, and you don't have to think too much.
You do not. In fact, you shouldn't, because if you think too much, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, then you really won't enjoy yourself. But if you are just, again, immersing yourself in the movie theater, it really does feel like a fun ride.
It does. We mentioned David Arnold's score. Properly bombastic, very memorable, very patriotic. This is how he got his breakthrough in Hollywood, Anton, from Roland Emmerich when he scored Stargate. He would get the Bond job a year after this with Tomorrow Never Dies. But I mean, just what a run that David Arnold went on.
Incredible. I also really enjoy Stargate, so that's cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a long time, but I mean, I like, Kurt Russell and James Spader are the two leads. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. I've never seen it.
It's good. I don't think it's anything amazing, but
are you in on the Stargate lore at all, Ivan? Stargate Atlantis?
Nope. I mean, I'd watch reruns on UPN back in the day.
Oh.
What do we think of the alien designs, the ships, the creatures in this?
I think they're fine.
They were a little bland to me.
Yeah, I agree with Ivan. Pretty meh.
I think they're fine. I think I was most impressed with the alien autopsy that was about to happen, just because like it did feel gross, and it did elicit a reaction from me.
I'm a little frustrated. We still don't get a great look at the creature though, like ever. No. You get a bunch of shots of them, and you never really get a good sense of what they look like.
I think it's probably for the better though, because I don't think that they could have actually ever designed a creature that. Like, it's hard to design, like, an alien creature that's going to be iconic. So probably good we get a bit more ambiguity.
I was doing more research into this, like, who designed it. Patrick Tatopoulos. Not a production designer I'm a fan of. Just not a cup of tea. I wrote down a bunch of his work. Super Mario Brothers, the original. Pitch Black, Underworld, iRobot, Chronicles of Riddick, Stargate, Spawn, Godzilla, 300, I Am Legend, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Oh boy, he's responsible for that lame-looking Batmobile.
What?
Justice League, 10,000 BC. Not a fan. Just doesn't do a lot of stuff I like.
Yeah, I mean, wow, Pitch Black. I haven't thought of that movie in a long time.
I actually like Pitch Black. It's a cool movie. I like the sequel too, Chronicles of Riddick. A lot of people don't. I enjoy it. I really
like the anime adaptation, Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yes, I agree with you. Is that the video game too? It was a great video game.
Great video game.
Yeah. We're going to cover Chronicles of Riddick at some point.
I love Chronicles of Riddick.
I enjoy it. It seems like a lot of people don't, but I always liked it.
The first one also felt very unique.
Pitch Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that sequel too. I mean, talk about like completely different.
Oh yeah, it's cool how the series evolved.
Yeah, it really is. And then they just did the same thing with Riddick. It was totally unoriginal. Yeah. Nobody was happy with that. And then
Vin Diesel was like, "I'm just gonna stick with Fast and the Furious now."
Yep, boring. But it made him a lot of money, so more power to him.
I don't want to be XXX.
Sorry about that. All right, I've gone through the notes. You want to wrap this up and give our ratings?
All right, let's do it. Ivan, as our guest, what are your thoughts and rating for Independence Day?
Like I said when we started the episode, I feel this is still like one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite sci-fi movies to watch. This is, although like it's a bit of a popcorn flick, but it's a fun popcorn flick. It's you don't have to pay too much attention to appreciate it type of movie. It's an annual watch for me. But there's a lot of stuff here that I think holds up. The visuals on most of it, I think, are still pretty top notch. Some things are starting to show their age, but I still enjoy it. And I feel like I kind of put it on this, like, the pedestal of the 90s for me. Like, it's still very nostalgic for me. Even though I'm pretty sure I first saw this on television. I'm pretty sure. I was way too young to have watched this in movie theaters. But there's so much here to enjoy. I think there's a lot of little character moments and action sequences that I'll frequently bump into on YouTube and just watch for a bit. And yeah, I mean, like, oddly enough, this is one of my favorite popcorn flicks. In terms of a rating, where would I put this? It's like a solid C+ for me. I feel like that's where it kind of falls in, and it sounds a bit low, but I feel like that's where it is. Like, it's like the uppermost on as a movie itself. It falls in the upper side of mediocre for me, but it's really fun, and it's not a movie I would ever really skip out on watching.
Anton?
Yeah, this is a very fun film. Independence Day has so much nostalgia for me, and I just really, really think to a fun time. They don't make films like this anymore category. And even to this day, it is just very enjoyable. You don't have to think a lot when you watch this kind of film. I think Pat said it best. If you think too much, you do start to get a little confused and a little upset. So don't have those expectations when going in to watch Independence Day. But for what it's worth, it is very enjoyable. It is a bit of a time capsule in some of its aspects, but it's also aged really well. From the effects to the pacing to the rewatchability factor. It's a very enjoyable movie that I would argue does do a bit more of an effective job of packaging like a fun action sci-fi film than a lot of contemporary films do. I think there's a bit of a heaviness to a lot of current sci-fi action films that could probably learn a lot from Independence Day. I stand by my thesis earlier that this is a glorified big budget B movie film, and that actually is where I lie, just a little bit lower. I'm at a B minus. I do give this a bit of credit again for very strong technical achievement in the special effects. The pacing is fantastic. I love the leads in this, and I think there's a lot of good, despite also a lot of cheese in this film.
I'm going to echo a lot of what you both just said. It's a very flawed, jingoistic cheese fest, but it is highly entertaining. It is very memorable. It is a deserved classic. It is too big of a piece of 90s pop culture not to be. The star power of Will Smith was never brighter, and I think most of the rest of the cast is what makes this movie work for me. The special effects and the set pieces mostly hold up 30 years later. In fact, considering the scale and like the scope of this film, I am consistently impressed by this when I rewatch it, like just how much they got out of the budget. I have to give Roland Emmerich and the team credit for that. There is a line between silly and stupid. This film repeatedly crosses it, but it still manages to deliver. There are some performances in here, primarily Randy Quaid, that are so absurd they nearly ruin the film for me, but they don't. This was one of the most hyped movies of its time, and it managed to deliver. It knows what it is. Anton, you said it best. It's a B movie. It's a glorified B movie. I enjoy it. I remember when it was the biggest movie in the world. I still enjoy it now. It delivered exactly what it promised, which was crazy, over-the-top spectacle. I'm right there with you, Anton, at a B minus. I think it's pretty good despite the flaws. I always enjoy rewatching this movie. I'll continue to rewatch it. Well, that is it for Independence Day. Ivan, this was just as much fun as I think we thought it would be.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, Ivan.
We're going to have you back soon, Ivan. Very soon, actually, when we talk about a Spider-Man movie next season.
Which, Ivan, we're going to dig in because I don't...
Oh boy.
You got to tell us everything that you worked on that film.
I just did the trailer, so there's not a bunch.
Look, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah,
Ivan, what the hell?
Yeah,
jeez.
Yeah. You're our expert, like industry guest here, and we are going to hype you up.
But until then, stay tuned, everyone. Have a happy and healthy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Happy birthday, America.
Happy 250th birthday, America.
And for all of our non-American listeners, have a great day anyway. Thanks for listening and see you next time.